Hey, tonight we check in on the economy of food, because that's a big part of our whole tourism economy, isn't it?
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
The president of Eat Drink Rhode Island has returned to give us his view of how we're doing in the dining world. And it's not a foo-foo conversation. This is an important economic conversation because this region so counts on the industry, which is actually hard to define. How are you? Good to have you in. Thanks for coming in. I'm sure the Providence Fest was something that a lot of you enjoyed. I didn't get there, but I hear that it went very, very well this weekend. And kudos to everybody who put that together. You know, the more vibrant the city feels, the better everybody feels. And we'll talk a little bit about vibrancy here in a moment because there's some developments when it comes to baseball. Been very good to us. Let's go to the rundown and check it out. But first, he dominates everything, and for some reason he can't seem to shake the Mexican judge comment. Gee, I wonder why. This is how it all started last week, and here's how it's developing with headlines like this, and then of course you get stories like this all weekend long.
So I'm trying to figure out your thinking here, though. If his Mexican heritage, the fact that his parents were Mexican immigrants, is a barrier to him doing his job, why would any Mexican voter vote for you? Wouldn't they be the same barrier, same problem?
No, they're going to vote for me because I'm going to bring jobs into the country.
But isn't it the same problem because you want to
totally
build a wall and
different.
all that?
No,
so what if it was a
all.
Muslim judge?
By the way, I have so many Hispanics. I made a speech last night. I saw hundreds of signs, Latinos for Trump, Latinos for Trump, all over the place. And you know what? They're here legally. They don't want their homes taken away. They don't want their job taken away. They like what I'm doing. Now, people can come in, but they have to come in legally.
On the Muslim, but what if he was a Muslim, though? You've been very tough on temporary Muslim immigration bans. So would a Muslim judge be also out of the question here?
We are allowing tremendous numbers of people coming into this country that we know nothing about. We have a problem in this country. We are going to have big problems. I've been pretty good at predicting things, John. We're going to have big problems. We have people coming into this country, totally undocumented. They don't know anything about them. They don't have paperwork. I've interviewed and talked to the best law enforcement people in the business. There's no way of knowing where they come from, and we're taking them in from the so-called migration. They're being sent all over the country. We have people that don't know what they're doing.
My question is, if it were a Muslim judge, would you also feel like they wouldn't be able to treat you fairly because of that policy of yours?
It's possible, yes. Yeah, that would be possible, absolutely.
Let's keep digging yourself into it, Donald. It's just, Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, finally had to say he'd vote for him, the most weak endorsement you can find. Then he and Mitch McConnell from the Senate had to react 24 hours later after these ridiculous comments that he made.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more with a statement like that.
Is it a racist statement?
I couldn't disagree more with what he had to say.
By the way, I misspoke. The judge is Mexican. He's American. He's from Indiana. It's like saying I'm an Irishman. Well, I'm Irish, but I was born in Flushing. It's incredible. Of course, it's a big day tomorrow on the Democratic side. I have the headline here, I think, that kind of speaks to that. Hillary Clinton will try to clinch this thing. But, if Bernie can steal California, it puts everything into a funky place. He's going to be arguing for superdelegates at the convention. And like a dog at the end of your ankle, he just won't let go. You won't let go of the pant leg. He's holding on that something's going to happen, and he's going to be there when all the chips fall. We'll see. Coming back home, this was kind of a good development today because of the late nature of the press conference today and the early nature of our timing of our broadcast when we put it together. I don't have all the audio that I'll have for you tomorrow regarding it, but here was the press release that the Paw Sox put out. Red Sox, city officials, state officials announced requests for proposals. This was what it looked like behind home plate. Press conference today. There are a lot more people than just the front row press taking pictures there. But I will tell you that it was kind of interesting to see Larry Lucchino and state officials and Mayor Grebian coming together. Was he out? Coming together to talk about this in some kind of a symbiotic way, this being whether they're going to stay. We'll talk about the chances of the Paw Sox staying tomorrow a little bit more, but I will tell you that it looked better today when three parties are going to invest capital, some of it's our money, of course, into figuring out what's best for that location. The momentum has shifted. I will tell you, the underlying tone from everybody was that last year, and Jim Skeffington, God rest his soul, trying to move that team from Pawtucket to Providence was an unmitigated disaster. All righty, Muhammad Ali is gone. It feels like a different planet in some ways because he was so huge, wasn't he? The headline and the story.
Muhammad Ali was a champion fighter inside the ring. Outside, he was a champion of tolerance and inclusion. Both of those themes will take center stage during two massive public services for the boxing legend. People from all faiths will be invited to attend an Islamic prayer program Thursday at Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky, the site of Ali's last fight in his hometown in 1961. Another public service will be held Friday at Louisville's Yum Center, where a flag is flying at half-staff. Ali's children and former President Bill Clinton will be among those eulogizing a man simply known as the greatest. Friend and one-time rival George Foreman told CBS This Morning that Ali's power wasn't in his punch, but his presence.
To say he was the greatest boxer is a put down. He was bigger than boxing. He was bigger than anything.
In all, more than 30,000 members of the public will be able to attend both services. Ali's family says he was part of the planning and gave the events his blessing before he died.
Daughter Layla Ali says she's grateful.
I'm happy knowing that he's no longer struggling, and that's what gives me comfort. So again, you know, I'm sad that he's not here. I'm sad that I can't hug him and kiss him.
And she said there will never be anyone else like him.
That's true. There's no doubt about that. By the way, George Foreman was incredible. And Ali beating him with that Thriller in Manila was just, nobody thought that would happen. My first experience, though, with Muhammad Ali as a fan was March 8th, 1971, which was my 10th birthday. You had to go to theaters. Gosh, am I old? Some of you probably feel the same way, right? You had to go to theaters to see the fight. You had to get, like, movie theaters to see the fight, and it was my birthday, so my mom and dad let me stay up and listen to it on the radio. I hated Ali. I hated him. Thought he was way too cocky. I loved Joe Frazier, and Frazier beat him. And after that, we found out Joe Frazier was as controversial a guy, quiet though, right? And Ali, you know what? He won my heart. I will tell you though, there are a lot of people who have very mixed feelings about Ali. He's a very complicated guy. So while his death will mitigate a lot of the criticisms, history will be an interesting reveal on Muhammad Ali's entire life. The good outweighs the bad, I'm sure, but there's some interesting, provocative social stuff in there. God rest him. He is a guy who has a signature on this country and the world, no doubt. This one is really headline here, and we tossed this in, and I'm glad we did because it's I don't know. It's just almost paradoxical. Watch.
District of Columbia.
The title known for beauty and grace looked to guts and glory Sunday night.
As a woman in the United States Army.
Deshauna Barber joined the military at 17. She's now an Army Reserve's logistics commander in Fort Meade, Maryland. When asked whether women in combat impedes the U.S. military's performance, Barber didn't flinch. In a moment many believed clinched the victory over her opponents.
We are just as tough as men. As a commander of my unit, I'm powerful. I am dedicated, and it is important that we recognize that gender does not limit us in the United States Army.
You know, if she's not military, that sniffle disqualifies her. What? That is an aesthetic pageant, the Miss Universe pageant, the Miss USA pageant. Miss America is a little bit different. There's actually a little bit more wholesomeness. The pageant thing blows me away. You know, with all of this gender equity that we push for in this country, that we still hold these pageants out for some kind of I don't know, lore, just puzzles me. But you know, good for her. The great thing about the country is you do what you want, you can win what you want, and you can contest what you want. That's all I got to say about that. But if she's not military, she's out with that sniffle. Or that twitch or tough guy move there. No? Yes? Lexi's like ready to throw stuff at me right here. Steve's just laughing. State of the food economy. I hope it's pretty good. This is the website for Eat, Drink, Rhode Island. And David is back to kind of give us a little view. You have any view on the USA pageant? Did you notice that?
I didn't really notice.
You didn't even notice
sorry,
it.
yeah.
No, I just listen. I mean, my point is that it's such a phony exercise. The whole beauty
Well,
pageant
there's that.
thing.
Yeah, I don't get the pageant thing
There's that whole
anymore.
thing. How's the economy of eating and drinking in Rhode Island?
It's strong. It's going well. It's continually growing. It's pretty amazing. We're in a really good spot right now.
Really?
Yeah. Tourism's growing. And
you have been somebody with this business that you're running now, Eat, Drink, Rhode Island, which is brilliant.
Thank you.
Reviewing this and being a part of. Why don't you explain, rather than me, explain to everybody what you're doing again with Eat, Drink, Rhode Island?
Sure. So we do media and events, anything to promote the local food. Chefs, restaurants, farms, products. We do a 4-day all local food festival, which just passed about 6 weeks ago, which was a great success. We do events throughout the summer, dinners out on farms, oyster farms, things of that nature. And we're working to open up a public market in Providence, year-round.
Really?
Indoor public market.
It will look like what?
Well, I mean, I think the best way is to draw on examples from around the country because we're still in the planning stages. But similar to the Reading Market in Philadelphia or Pike's Place in Seattle, minus the kitschy T-shirts and stuff like that. But really, storefronts for cafes, ice cream, wine bar, oyster bar, things like that. Produce, meat market, things like that underneath one roof with an event space and commercial kitchen to really drive the food tourism forward.
So vendors would come in on a temporary basis or a permanent
No,
basis?
there'd be about 15 to 20 permanent spots, and then there'd also be a level for temporary, for more seasonal, for maybe another 20 or 30 seasonal spots.
Where do you want to put it?
Well, we're working with DEM to take the old Shooters property.
Really?
On India Point there, yeah.
Oh, thank God.
It's not done yet.
No,
It's not a done deal yet, but the
whole-
state owns it, and we've been working very closely with DEM, and now DOT is over there doing some clearing and grading and getting the property ready for a ferry service that they're planning. DOT separate from us.
Right.
So we're very hopeful that we can move this forward.
Dude, how cool would that be? Well, I wonder, how long you been thinking about this now?
Oh boy, about 2.5 years, maybe almost 3 years.
I would tell you, the whole Pawn Sox to Providence thing, I had everyone kind of in a mode, right? Like, is that going to happen? What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Now that seems like it's not going to happen, we can start to rethink permanently what is a good thing all along the waterfront, all through the 195 development area. But the Shooters thing has been just a, come on, man.
16 years it's been vacant.
Right.
Yeah, the state's owned it for 16 years, and
oh, what a perfect use that would be. Is parking good down there for now?
well, so there's the parking lot next to the structure,
Right.
which
It's still
DOT is
there.
working on now.
Yeah.
And DOT also owns parking structures underneath the highway, so we're working with the state to make this the best that we can.
Well, that'd be a great idea. When we come back, we'll take a look at some trends and some interesting things that people are lining up for. Stay with us. David is the president of Eat, Drink, Rhode Island, which is a website that you can see. And when people utilize your business for information,
sure,
about the industry and you are you at a point now where everybody in the business of restaurateur, bars, taverns, and the like is kind of going to you as a kind of a go-to?
Well, not everyone. I mean, we have a huge industry here, but we certainly have a good amount of clients, a good amount of people that we work with. I mean, our festival, we had over 50 food products, I don't know, 30 or 40 restaurants.
Well, I guess the question is are you just building a business and a portfolio of your own customers that benefit from your marketing, or are you getting to a place where you are, and I say this not to hyperbolize the term, but are you guruing in the whole? Is that where you want to be able to, hey, listen, if David doesn't give us the, it's.
No, I don't like to think of it that way. I mean, we're a small state, small industry, everyone knows each other's business, so it's certainly not a case of thumbs up or thumbs down.
You're a fan.
Yes, I'm certainly a fan as well. I mean, we've got such great food here. I mean, it's easy to go so many wonderful places, get so many wonderful things.
We've got some interesting trends, right? Okay, so Steve just put up this Persimmon in Providence is open. You'll write about this. You know what's fascinating to me? The fine line between when a restaurant's opening or existence or closing becomes news versus what others have to work so hard to get attention for. Do you follow me?
Absolutely. That's a lot of what we do. Is to sometimes with some of our clients to try and fight through the media haze, and some just Persimmon opens and that's huge news. I mean that's one of those things.
But it's
good for them.
But media has to decide whether or not something is newsworthy every single day.
Right.
But some developments in the restaurant business, because there's a history, or because there's a really hot chef, or because the owners have been at it for such a long time, or all those things, we go, oh, well, we'll give them no charge media attention because what they're doing is newsworthy to the people who want to know that this is happening. But only a handful of establishments get that kind of juice, right?
Absolutely.
It's a hard business.
Oh, it's a brutally hard business.
Margins are tough. Booze is the thing that really separates profit margins in a lot of ways.
Absolutely, it's a very hard business to be in. It's the hours are extremely difficult for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's driven for a certain mindset. The restaurant is really about hospitality, and people that run restaurants and want to be part of that want to entertain other people with their hospitality and serve.
There's some weird things going on, though. What is this donut thing that's happening? A whole new world.
Yeah, PV Donuts. It's huge.
We got to get them in, Lex.
Yeah, they were at our festival. They came to our festival and served donuts at the festival a month before they opened.
Can you explain to me how in God's green earth, with all that we know now, how donuts end up continuing to be a thing, and now people are lining up for something they know is going to kill them?
Well, it's not going to kill them. I mean, hopefully people aren't eating
Killing
a dozen by themselves. I mean,
I haven't had a donut.
One a week, maybe, Dan. Not daily.
People probably think the way I look that I have. It would be this big on the TV screen if it was. I mean, I look at donuts now and I go, oh my God, I know that's absolutely not what I want in my system yet.
Well, and there's also a difference between what they're making at PV Donuts or other locally produced donuts with real ingredients, with better flours, with better sugars, I mean, I'm not going to say it's not, fat and sugar. It is, but the quality's a lot better. And moderation. Don't eat a dozen donuts.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just that some people just can't stop when they start. That kind of thing. But it's true. Who do we have on Friday? Ella's down in Westerly, and they made this ginger cookie. And she was saying it was organically made. I said, this is going to kill me. And you know what? I had a bite and said, oh my God, it had. And I was very disciplined. I brought it home, and then Deb had some. And
that's it, discipline.
But she was making a point. Listen, this is organically made. So that's the trend right now for stuff that's not so good for you. If you make it organically, at least there's a
it reduces some of the fats that they would use in the more processed fats that they would use in larger chains, things like that, are not in any way, shape, or form healthy. Whereas, I'm not saying butter should be eaten constantly, but at least butter is a healthy fat. It comes from cows. It's,
Sure. Do you have a feel, or are you just reporting on and then helping to market what explodes in this industry?
Oh yeah, we certainly watch trends very closely. The nice thing about Rhode Island is we're kind of an epicenter for a lot of these trends. A while back, 10, 15 years ago, it used to be New York and LA and Chicago only, but now we're right on the top of things here as much as these other cities around the country, around the world really. And the small plate thing went through a phase for a while, and now we're kind of returning to more natural plates and more, less is more. A lot of pastas are actually becoming popular again, which is fascinating. But people are making the pastas again from flours and ingredients that they have better control over. The trends are constantly changing and shifting, but we're really, we've got it here in Rhode Island. We're very fortunate.
And we'll talk about the latest trends in the big picture of the economy, how we're doing it. Got to get Dave's take on cooler, warmer. Everybody's got to weigh in on that. Stay with us. By the way, we wanted to show you this picture. This is kind of interesting. David, talk to me about this.
So we produce for Walrus and Carpet Oysters, which is a farm down in Nittigrit Pond. We produce a series of dinners there for them, a week in July and a week in August, and they sell out in about half an hour, all 8 of them. It's 36 people per dinner. It's just a phenomenal experience, and it's an experience. That's really the thing about it. It's not just a dinner; it's an experience. You go out on the farm. The owner of the oyster farm, Jules Optenhimmel, takes the group out, shows them how the oysters are farmed, how they're produced, how he raises them. Then everyone gets to have a raw bar experience standing there in the water of the pond, and then you go over to
really,
yeah, it's spectacular. It's absolutely gorgeous. That's one of my aerials that I've taken.
I'm a big raw bar guy, so that's something I'm going to have to get on the list for. What do you think about the overall economy of the restaurant food sector versus the challenges that the state has had trying to figure out what it wants to call itself to the rest of the world?
Well, I think it's not easy to point out only one thing about this state. That's kind of the beauty of it. I mean, obviously we're geared towards the food industry, and it's so valuable to us, and we see how great it is. But we can't discount the arts or the history of the beaches or all the other things here. So it is hard to pick one thing out. But we are moving forward. It's one of the few sectors that has grown over the last 10 years, especially throughout the recession. It just kept growing. Restaurants keep getting busier and busier. I mean, that oyster farm dinner we just talked about is $225 a person. It's not an inexpensive ticket, and yet, like I said, we sold, 8 times 36 in half an hour. It's a continually growing industry, and it's continually changing, and now we have a lot of new businesses coming along. We mentioned PV Donuts is a brand new business. There's new sauces and new products coming out of Hope in Maine all the time. Our friends at the Backyard Food Company just launched a new line of pickles. The folks at Sons of Liberty Whiskey down in South Kingston just won 2 international whiskey awards. They are the #1 whiskey in America and the #1 single malt in America, right here, made in Rhode Island. So it's continual growth.
This concept of Eat, Drink, Rhode Island, that you were able to, 3 simple terms, eat, drink, in the state, in very many ways could have been its own tourism brand.
We certainly do a lot of tourism, we do. I mean, not just the oyster farm, but we have a chef from Texas that comes up here in August that we do a dinner series with. She grew up in East Providence, so she has a close tie here, and we partner them with a restaurant in Bristol called Statesman Tavern. We're going to do some lobster events revolving around our aquaculture industry here. It's a way of bringing more people here. Obviously we get a lot of people from Connecticut and Massachusetts, but we get a lot of people from New York now. We reach people I know in California and Oregon. We saw some people on our mailing list recently pop up. It's a form of tourism. Absolutely.
You think the state sometimes overthinks it?
Well, I think it goes back to what I was saying. You can't. How do you sum up all the things that Rhode Island has in one package? It's kind of hard. I'm not gonna say that it's an easy thing. I think it could be handled a little better, perhaps. Obviously, I'm a little biased towards the food side of things, but I think it could be done a little better. All
right. Well, what's the timetable and what could happen with Shooters?
It's really in, well, it's 2 parts. It's not, I don't want to say it's only in the state's hands. A part of it is in the state's hands because they own the property, and Commerce needs to come back to us with information, financial information.
When will we have some news? Short answer.
I'm hoping within a few months we have some news at least.
Good. Good luck. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. Final word when we come back. Stay with us. All righty. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow at 3 o'clock until 6 on WPRO. It'd be great if David can secure that Shooters spot. It's been too long. Put the package together. It'd be good for the economy. We'll see you.